Hey, HTDA, and today I want to show you Automated, a game that is a combination between a factory game and a puzzle game, and its demo was released earlier this week. And before I dive in, I just want to say a big thank you to Forklift Interactive for sponsoring this video today. So, this is an example of one of the first couple of levels and really shows you what you will be building towards. You are going to be building a 3D factory that is going to produce all kinds of things. It is really 3D, as you can see, with lifts and stuff like that going on. And this is actually one of the more simple levels because things get way crazier later on. And this is just a demo, so this is a deceptively easy looking game, but once you get into it you'll quickly find out that if you want to really optimize things, you're going to have to work for it. And optimizing things you shall, because this is what this level started out with just a couple of dispensers that are going to give you different types of raw materials. And this is the delivery station where that stuff needs to go. This is all fixed, so you can't move these things around. And that's where the puzzle element comes in, because the goal here is not just to produce certain items, which is actually pretty straightforward because you can just look up the recipe. It's all really well done, so you can kind of backtrack to see what you need to produce. But you're supposed to produce this in the most efficient way possible. You get a main task that just says, well, you need to produce X amount of this stuff within a couple of minutes. Now, don't worry, there's no stress involved. You don't need to spam buildings or anything like that. You are in a paused version of the game. You just build everything up, then you press play, and then you're supposed to deliver those 60 railway lines, in this example, within 2 minutes, just running the production completely built already. So, and if that doesn't actually happen, if you need to optimize stuff, then you can just restart the game. You don't need to build everything once over. You can just restart the production line and keep trying until you actually beat the time limit. But however, the time limit is usually not where the real challenge lies, because you can optimize stuff. The main time limit is 2 minutes, but you actually want to produce stuff in such an efficient way with your layouts being completely optimized that you can do it in 1 minute 36 or less. And you also want to do this using less than a certain amount of power. Every building that you place down, so it doesn't matter if it's things like belts or splitters or the actual machines, everything costs power. So you can't just spam machines all over the place or anything like that to make things more efficient. Well, you can, but you need to stay within that time limit if you want to get a 5-star result. If you meet all of those requirements, you get a 5-star rating and you can be proud of your achievements. But if you want even more of a challenge, then you can also take on the global ranking list for the later levels. As you can see, for example, my solution over here only got 4 out of 5 stars. I haven't actually been able to find the 5 out of 5 star solution just yet. And some other people apparently did that because, as you can see, there are people that were able to go below 35 seconds for this particular level, which is the threshold that you need to have for the 5 out of 5. Now, the global ranking might not be for everyone, but what I like about this is that you can actually see that there are more optimal solutions than what you came up with. And as someone whose channel literally has in the description that all my gameplay is about optimizing things, I am extremely happy to show you that you can actually have multiple kind of like save games for a particular level, so you can try out different designs without having to throw away your old design before you can place in a new one. So if I go to this, I will go to the level design that I initially made, but if I go this, I will just start a new level. I can try a slightly different layout, and I can kind of like switch in between these two if I want to kind of compare to see what I've optimized and what that gained me. And this is truly just for the extreme optimizers among you, but it's a really nice quality of life feature for a game that is all about puzzling out the optimal solution. I have to say the game ramps up the difficulty quite quickly, but it does come with some nice kind of like explainer features that tell you what the new mechanics are before actually introducing them and kind of showing you it in a visual way how to deal with them and how they work. Okay, but enough blabbering about the game. Let's actually show you some gameplay and let's take on one of the more complicated levels in the demo. Because, you know, I am all about optimizing on this channel apparently, so let's see if I can actually do that. Seems pretty straightforward. We need to make 60 advanced solar modules in 2 minutes. And if we want to really beat the level, we're going to need to do it even faster, so 1 minute 46. And we're going to need to do all of that with using 868 or less power. We have 900 and 50 available, so basically as long as we keep about 100 left, then we should be fine. But that is going to sound a lot easier than it probably is going to be in practice. So let's see. In order to make solar panels, we are going to need a manufacturer. This is one of the many buildings. Some of them are really large, some of them are not as large. I think the manufacturer, as you can see, is pretty small. And this is going to produce 60 per minute. So in theory, with just one of these manufacturers, we should be able to produce enough to get those 60 after 2 minutes. However, this is not going to be producing from day one, so we might actually end up needing more than one. But let's just for the moment assume one is enough. Now we are going to need to deliver this stuff to this node over here. So it makes sense to have this start out maybe something like, I don't know, over here maybe. And let's just slot it in like that. There we go. If you look at this, the red things I think are pipes, and the blue things are where you can put in more complicated stuff on a belt. Now, in order to make these solar panels, as you can see, we are going to need to produce some solar cells, some aluminum frames, and some aluminum coatings. Now what I'm going to do is just basically lay out some of the production lines that I need to make, and then see if we can optimize those. And even though this is just a demo, it's a pretty extensive demo that already shows quite a few quality of life features that will be in the final game as well. So for example, the recipe that I just showed you needs a couple of other things. If you're wondering how you can actually make those, you can just click on that recipe and see what the recipe for that thing is. And then if you want to switch back, you can very easily do that. So you can really click through all the different recipes really easily. But it gets better than that, because you can click on this overview button and get the entire technology tree for the item that you need to make. And then you can even put that on a separate window, so you can easily select that and even just kind of make it larger and do this all around. You don't have to build your own spreadsheets. You don't need to go to a external planner to plan out your builds. No, everything is right in here. Now, yes, I'm not going to lie, I am a little bit sad that I don't get to make my own spreadsheets, although I guess I could technically still do that, but I realize that's not for everyone, so having this in the actual game, I think, is a major boon. Now, I'm actually going to use this as a baseline, and there's a nice little short key that you can use in order to get this on and off the screen, so you don't need to click it all away every time. And let's see, we might just start building in a corner and take it from there. Maybe we should start with this part of this production chain. We're going to need some water, we're going to need some sulfur, we're going to need to toss that into a dissolution chamber and a chemical infuser by the looks of it, to make some sulfur dioxide and some water steam, and that needs to go then into another chemical infuser to make sulfur trioxide. Well, okay, let's go and do that. So let's see, we have the sulfur over here and the water over here, so it makes sense to do all of that recombining that we just saw in this corner over here. Now we needed I already forgot, let's see, we need a dissolution chamber for the first thing, which is this building over here. It is going to feed in from the back, so maybe we should just stick it in the corner like so. Let's see if that fits. Maybe, let's see. Now the nice thing is, if you connect this up, it will actually already show you whether or not it's going to be producing something and what it is actually producing. So putting this down like this actually does work. And then what was the second building that we needed? A chemical infuser. That was the wrong button, sorry about that. And let's see, we need the chemical infuser that is over. Ooh, this is a very big building. There we go. We are going to need to flip this around. Then put it, I don't know, over here maybe? Does that fit? Yeah, I think that fits. And then we need to connect this up with a fluid pipe, I guess. There we go. And there we go. We have water. Oh, this is such an easy game. Famous last words. So let's take a look at the second part of this production chain. We have another chemical infuser where we need to put in those two things in order to make the trioxide, and then we actually need more water into another chemical infuser. Although I'm not entirely sure, maybe we can just use the infuser that we already have. This is steam, water steam, water steam. Yeah, so this is the same thing. So maybe we can just split this off and then recombine it and put it in the third chemical infuser that is going to make the acid. So it turns out we can actually split the pipelines you can see over here. Now pipes are definitely 3D, so I needed to kind of like work around these things to avoid these connecting to each other and getting in each other's way. And but yeah, we are using the water stream from this building over here to feed into both this one and this one. And by the looks of it, this is just infinite production, I guess, maybe, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a throughput limit on these gases, so maybe this is just going to be sufficient for our entire production chain, which is probably a good thing, because this already took up almost a quarter of my building space, and I need to build, well, let's say, quite a few more things if we look at this complete overview. So yeah, okay, but we made this part of the production chain now. We're also going to need, by the looks of it, we are going to need to turn the aluminum into 4 different things, and we need to do that with 3 different machines. Well, 4 machines in total with 3 different ones. So let's see where we can fit all of those next to where the aluminum is coming from. Right, so by the looks of it, we have some aluminum over here, quite a bit of it actually, and some more over here. We are going to need to make the aluminum in quite a few different items and in different places, because I just took another look at this recipe over here. And as you can see, we need to make some of the aluminum stuff along with something that has to do with the heavy water. We haven't made this yet, but that's going to go into the solar cells. Now some of it is going to go along with the sulfuric acid that we just made to make the dissolution chambers, and then something is completely self-sufficient here, at least in terms of the aluminum, and that is going to turn into that 3rd item. So let me think, what makes sense? Maybe we should just focus on making this item first to make sure we have that complete, and then worry about everything else. That might not be the best approach, but I guess we're going to find out. So that means we're going to need to have 180 of this stuff, and we're going to need to split that a little bit between different belts, because we are going to need to put some of it into a cutting machine and some of it into a press machine. Okay, so how about this? We take a splitter, a 3-way splitter over here. That is going to put 120 on each of these belts. And we needed what? We needed a cutting machine, I believe. So we can place this one like so, I guess. That's going to make 1 item. And then I'm going to place down a press machine over here. Like that. Now I realize this is actually going to block the 3rd outlet, but I think we have more aluminum than we need. I might be making some mistake there, but we're going to find out one way or another. So now we have those 2 items. Let's double check our recipe. Yeah, so this is the aluminum bars and aluminum profiles, right? Right, yeah, it looks like it. And then we need to combine that with the acid that we already made. And then we should be good to go. Not entirely sure why it didn't pop up there. And then we need a dissolution chamber. So this is the same building that we already had before. And that is going to turn this into aluminum frames. So that means that if I do that, this is the dissolution chamber. The hotkey was right there on the screen. Once again, nice quality of life feature. Yeah, this is already kind of like a final product, right? So we could just move that here, I guess. This is actually a gas, so we need this input. This, can we just connect this up? That might be efficient. Not entirely sure. We need all 3 of them, right? Did we need all 3 of them? Yes. So we do need to actually move this a little bit, because otherwise I can't access it. So let's put it in like so. Okay, so actually the main things that we're producing over here need to go on the sides by the look of it, and the gas can be in the bottom. So I do need to make sure that I leave plenty of room to bring all of that in. I'm gonna do that like so, and then we're going to need some belts. The belt placement in this game is actually really nice. It's really nice to do. You can just drag it along in corners. I'm just going to do this the ugly way for now. Mostly because I have no idea how much space we actually have. How much we're actually going to need. Is this going to block it? Yes. So hold on, I need to rearrange these belts a little bit. Okie dokie, so how about this? I have these belts coming in from the side over here, and then we have some fluid coming through this pipe over here, and we're making those actual items that we needed. So that is 1 down, 2 to go. Next up on the list is some heavy water that we're going to be turning into deuterium and then into liquid deuterium, because apparently it starts out as a gas. And we need a couple of bifluxers in order to make that happen. So we have the heavy water over here, and I also saw we are going to need some of this silicon right afterwards. So let's find out what this, what was it, L? Yeah, there we go. This influxer, what was it called? Looks like, I'm learning a lot of new words today, it's really fun. So what if we take this, and we take this kind of like around corner like this, and we needed 2 of them, right? So can I just put them back to back and then put a pipe? So this is a liquid, I guess. There we go. Oh, the first one works. Let me double check my recipe. What did I need next? So this one is making the deuterium. Yeah, so we need another bifluxer to make it into liquid deuterium. Unfortunately, putting these buildings down like this apparently doesn't work. Let's see if it triggers if I reposition it. Nope. Okay, no, that's fine. We can make it manually. So we are going to need to put a pipe in between this. This is a gas now, so we need one of those red pipes. And I think I already see what the problem is, because the entrance point is actually not the same as the exit point over here. But if we do it like this, there we go. Now we have some liquid deuterium. And it looks like we can just take some raw silicon, 120 per minute in this case, and we put that into one of those dissolution chamber in order to make the polycrystalline silicon. And then we have one more item that we need in order to make the solar cells. So let's do exactly that. So we're going to take one more of these. Where are we going to put this? Maybe... Where is the exit point for this? It's actually over here. So if I put it like this, at least this is the shortest distance that it can be. And then we still need to connect this up. This is a liquid now, so we need one of the blue pipes. And then I can just, can I write it like this? You can actually set anchor points, so that is really convenient because it makes it a lot easier to build this without having to manually do a lot of things. And there we go. There we go. We have the first component ready again. I am already starting to kind of run out of space, but so far I think I've been quite efficient placing these buildings down in angles that don't get into the way too much. So let's hope we actually found a sort of optimized solution already. Okay, so as it turns out, for the next step we're going to need to go back to aluminum, and we actually need to produce some ingots and some bars. And we need to do that twice, because as you can see, we need the same type of items as well for the welding machine over here. So that means we need a total of 240 of this per minute, and a total of 2 furnaces and 2 press machines. So, let's see if I can figure out a nice and compact way of doing that over here in this corner. So let's see, we have 240 here already, so we need to split that twice. I think something like this. Now, I can't actually mirror buildings yet in this version of the game. Not sure if that's going to be on its way. It would be a very nice thing to have, because this just doesn't look very good, does it? Anyway, this means we have 60 on every belt. Then what did we need again? We needed some furnaces that I remember. So that are these things. And let's see, how are we going to place those? Maybe one like... we probably need a little bit more space than that. So let's place one like this. And then one like that. And what was the other building that we needed? So let me check that out. Was it a... it was a press machine. Those are the big ones, right? Yeah. Okay, let me take a look at this and figure out if we can make something that looks somewhat clean, but also is somewhat space efficient. Something like this, maybe? I mean, it's not the cleanest solution ever, but that doesn't look too bad, and we're producing a whole lot of this stuff. I think we're actually producing more than we need, but we'll deal with that in a second. Because what we're going to do first is put some of this stuff into a welding machine and then some of the other stuff into a manufacturer along with the polycrystalline silicon, and then we have the 3 base materials that we need to make our end product. So actually, if I place the welding machine over here, there we go, we are producing the 1 item that we need, and that is working, I guess. That does mean that I should not recombine these belts over here, and this is also not going anywhere, but I do need to get one of those manufacturers in here as well. Yeah, this is just going to be the quick and dirty version, but it should work if I do it like this. And then some belts. Where's this coming out? It's in the middle. So I can do this like so. No, I can't do that. But I can do it like this. However, now I have a problem because I can't actually reach this material over here. So I want to kind of flip this around to make sure it's facing in the same direction as this one. But that means I'm going to have to work with some elevators. Elevators work exactly like you think they do. They can raise stuff over belts and hopefully also over buildings, because otherwise I'm going to still have a problem. Let's see, so if I put an elevator like this, and you can actually raise the height of the elevator as well if you need to. What I'm hoping, yeah, that is not going in the direction that I needed to. Hold on. Oh, so I actually realized that in this game there's a very nice quality of life that you can just easily switch the direction of your belt. So that was easy. Okay, so now the materials are going to come in here. They're going to be lifted over this production facility over here. And then if I connect this over here, then there we go. We have it back in production. And we have the other 3rd material in production over here. So now all I need to do is get this. And we have, I think, everything we need. So that means we have 1 material coming in over here, 1 material coming in over here, and then the last one over here. Look at that, look at that. That's our end product in production. Now, is this actually going to be anywhere close to the 2 production limit that we need it to be? Well, there's only one way to find out. You can start the production chain like this. You can do it in the slow way, so you can see everything starting to move. It does look like the fluids and gases and things like that are instantaneously. Those were pretty quick, but the main bottleneck here, as you can see, is the production lines we have. We can also speed things up, because of course we don't want to necessarily wait for 3 whole minutes or 2 whole minutes for this to be produced. I have a feeling it's going to be closer to 3 minutes though, because as you can see, the time is already ticking a little bit away, and we are only through about 1/3 of what we are going to need to have. So yeah, this is definitely not an optimized production line at all. It's pretty straightforward to make like this. Now the real challenge is going to be to optimize this in such a way that we get somewhat closer to the 2 limit mark. I'm actually quite curious to see how far over we are. We seem to be almost at 4 minutes at this point, a little over 4 minutes actually, before all 60 have been produced. So we are going to get a score, and I'm actually going to show you that, because we did complete the level to some extent. So we do get 3 stars. We completed the level objective, but we didn't actually do it within the time constraints. So we have 2 more to go. We actually did only use a limited amount of power, which is probably why we took so long, but we already got 3 stars. So now the real challenge is to increase our speed without increasing our production too much. Okay, so in hindsight, it's actually pretty logical that we got way over the time limit, because even though the 1 manufacturer is capable of producing 60 per minute, we didn't produce anywhere near enough of the element coding. We actually only produced 30 per minute, because a single machine only does 30 per minute. So that means we need 4 of them to actually get to the 120 per minute. Similarly, we needed 60 per minute of the, what are these called, aluminum frames, and we are only producing 30. So we need to double up on this production and quadruple this production. And that means we're going to need a whole lot more of everything. Okay, so double checking the frame recipe, it turns out that we do need those 2 items that we're producing over here, but we actually need twice as many of those profiles. We have plenty of the bars in production over here, So if we double up on the dissolution chambers, I have 2 of them over here now. I think, again, this liquid production is infinite, so that's not a problem either. But we are going to need that 3rd belt that is split off over here and turn that into one of these cutters, I believe they're called, cutting machines, yep. And then hopefully we have enough production to get that all in these 2 dissolution chambers and have enough of the frame production. Okay, so how about this? I rearranged some of these infusers over here on the side. Considering how fast the gas and liquid seem to be, the fact that this is not, in terms of the length of these pipes, this is not really efficient. That doesn't actually mean it won't be efficient in terms of production speed. And by cleaning up a little bit of this corner over here, I have some more space to get some of these belts going, because the splitter is now fully utilized. I have 2 of these machines on the side making the bars, I believe these are, and some of the ingots. So now I can bring all of those to these machines over here in order to start double producing the aluminum frames. So I've done some math on the remaining aluminum, and it turns out we are going to need 4 furnaces in order to make enough of these ingots over here, and we actually need an additional press machine in order to make the rest of the aluminum bars. Okay, so the ingots fit nicely in the corner like this. This is going to be producing all of the ingots, and it's going to completely utilize the silicon over here. Now, I actually need a little bit more of these bars. To be exact, I'm going to need twice as many. Now, the nice thing is I can actually overclock this. This is going to double the production. It's also going to require double the amount of inputs, but I can actually already have it on the belt, so that's nice. And I can actually get the output out of here like this. Now the real question is, how am I going to fit in all those welders and still get all these materials where they need to go? Well, not like this you don't. I mean, this is a nice little jumble of lifts and stuff like that, but I actually don't have enough production for the welding machine yet, even though I'm overclocking this, and I'm already over my power limit. So I'm once again going to have to rethink this. Now what I did notice is that once you overclock machines, it actually doesn't seem to take full power. It's actually less than that. So you can see this goes from -24 to 31. So it adds 7 power, which I think is half of the power of just a single machine. So by overclocking, I can actually save myself some power. And if I overclock, I also need less belts and less splitters. So yeah, back to the drawing board. So overclocking a dissolution chamber means I only need 1. That also means that I can not split a lot of these belts anymore. And if I bring it all the way up here, I actually need a lot less belts to get all the way down here as well. Because again, every belt uses power. So having a single belt run all the way down here is a lot more efficient than having several belts run down there. And then on top of that, what I can do is shorten the length of the pipe. Pipes also cost power for some reason, don't ask me why. And look at that, I am still producing 60 per minute now, even though I heavily condensed everything in here. So let's do the same for this corner. Well, that turned out to be a lot less easy than I thought it would be, but I overclocked the furnaces to save up on some room. So you can see we have empty space over here. I brought in the bars from the overclocked thing over here that I then needed to split because we have these 2 overclocked welding machines as well. There's the belt going under here with the ingots, and then this belt over here is being split into 2, and it goes into those as well. And then the second belt of ingots goes all the way down here into the solar cell production that I brought up here, mostly because I wanted to save some power on these belts over here. Could have brought it down, but either way there's some crossing of belts happening here that is, I think, unavoidable. But either way, I do think that this entire layout is actually a lot more power efficient than what we had before. We are still not within the power limit that this star asks of us, but we might be able to at least get within the 2 minute speed production, that is. Let's find out. Let's queue this up and see what happens. Now, everything here is being produced pretty quickly, so that's nice. We see the welders coming into action here as well. We're 1 minute in. How far are we in terms of production? We are gonna cut it pretty close, but I think we might make it within 2 minutes. We actually have some time to spare by the looks of it. Well, 1 minute 44.7 is actually within the second time limit as well of the 1.46 that was needed. Not within the power limit yet, so if you want to do better, you can. There's plenty of people that have not played the game yet and that are probably going to do a lot better than what I did. But keep in mind, this is just one level. This level took me several hours of playing already. As you can see, I spent 2 hours playing this specific level. There are already 12 levels in just the demo. And just a reminder, the demo is free. So if you want to try this out, there is hours of gameplay already in the demo completely for free. And then if you like, don't forget to wishlist it, because there is a lot more to come. All in all, it's a pretty enjoyable game. Go ahead and try it out and let me know in the comments what you think. If you're still here, you're awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.